How many games will the Cincinnati Bengals win in 2024? What's going on, Bengals fans? It's Emmanuel Jones here, back at with another NFL record prediction. This time we'll be doing our NFL predictions for the Bengals for 2024 NFL season. Give you my thoughts, my game analysis, see which games I think the Bengals will win and which game I think the Bengals will lose. Now the question is it time for the Bengals to bounce back? Because I feel like it's bounce back season for the Bengals. So before I give you my record for Cincinnati Bengals in 2024, don't forget to put a thumbs up to like the video, subscribe to my channel for more options, and don't forget to comment down your opinion below to see who you think is going, how good you think the Bengals are going to do. Do you think the Bengals are going to think the Bengals are going to make the playoffs? Do you think they're going to win division? What seed will they be in the playoffs, or do you think they're going to miss out in the playoffs? So let me know in the comments section below what you think. So we're gonna get started here. So actually, week 1. Now the Bengals kind of an easy stretch the first game of the season. Now they play one of the weaker teams in the NFL because they play the Patriots, Commanders, and the Panthers. They play non-playoff teams, especially one of the weakest teams in in the NFL. So basically, they play the Patriots at home. That's a game the Bengals should easily win because it's in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is a better team overall, better quarterback, better coaching staff. They're at home in this game, and on top of that, Patriots going to be doing some learning because they have a new quarterback and a new coach. It's going to be a new culture in New England. They kind of have a new offensive line and new receivers, but their receivers are still the same despite them drafting them. And the defense is pretty much the same. Maybe they give the Bengals deep offensive issues, but I don't know. But I just have a feeling that I don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Whether it's going to be Drake May or it's going to be Jacoby Brissett. But I think the Bengals defense is going to show up in this game. So I think their pass rush can give them a lot of issues, and I think they can stop their running game. And they pretty got a great secondary that can really man up against an underwhelming receiving core of the Patriots. So, yeah, especially the Bengals have a better receiving core. So, yeah, they have better – I feel like they're more explosive on offense than the Patriots. I don't think the Patriots have a lot of explosive abilities. So, yeah, I think the Bengals, win this game at home. I don't think the Patriots will keep up. I think the Bengals can definitely win like a blowout game, but I wouldn't be shocked they kept this game close. So basically, they play against the weakest teams in the NFL, which, I'm going to come back to this Chiefs game, and I'm going to come back to the Ravens game too, because those are tough teams, and those are teams that made the playoffs last year. But I'm coming back to this one. But I can tell week 3, week 4, and week 6, they play against one of the weakest teams in their division. Like, the weakest teams in the NFL. They play the Washington Commanders on the Monday night. That's going to be a win for the Commanders because the Bengals are at home. And, the Bengals got the better. And this is two LSU quarterbacks playing against each other. Like, the Bengals are at home. They got the better quarterback. They got the better coaching staff. They're the more complete team, and I think the Bengals defense will show up in this game because I wouldn't trust a rookie quarterback on the road, especially against a good defense like the Bengals, because their defense is a lot better. They have a good pass rush that can really get after Jaden Daniels, make life difficult on him, and they can slow down Eckler in the running game. And on top of that, they have the corners to match up well with Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. So yeah. And also, the Commanders' defense, I don't think is that great. I mean, their secondary is atrocious, so maybe the Bengals can throw the ball at them. Like, I feel like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins will be too much for the Commanders' secondary to handle. Like, they don't really have the corners to match up with the Bengals receivers. So, yeah, I think the Bengals should easily win this game, but I think it's going to be a blowout, but I wouldn't be shocked they kept this game close. Then they got to play the Panthers. Obviously, they should easily beat the Panthers because I still think the Panthers are one of the worst teams in the league. I mean, the Panthers, Bryce Young is I don't think he's that great, but I feel like he's going to improve. But I don't know how good he's going to be in year two. I mean, they added like some good weapons around him to make Bryce Young successful. I mean, their offensive line is pretty new. They're going to deal with learning curves. Got have a new head coach and a new offensive line. The defense is totally not the same. Like it totally lost some pieces, especially in the defensive line and especially in the secondary, which I don't think they're secondary because I don't think the Bengals have. I don't think the Panthers defense is great. Like I don't think they're secondary. I mean, outside JC Horn, I think their secondary is a little weak. Like I don't think they have enough guys in the second that can man up against Jamar Chase and T Higgins. I felt the Bengals feel like the receiving core of the Bengals is just going to be too much there for the Panthers defense to handle. And on top of that, I think the defense is going to show up in this game, and they can figure out how to at least like make life difficult on little Bryce Young, and especially they can run the ball in them a little bit on offense, and their secondary can man up against the Panthers receivers. So yeah, I think the Bengals should easily win this game. Then another week team they play against the Giants on a Sunday night. That's a game they should easily win because the Giants aren't that good. This is Malik Neighbors playing against his former LSU player Jamar Chase. I feel like Jamar Chase will have a bigger game than Malik Neighbors. Um, I feel like the Bengals, have better skill group on offense, better quarterback. They're a better team overall, better coach. Yeah, and I think the Bengals defense is going to show up. Like they'll give the Giants offense a tough time, make life difficult on Daniel Jones because I think their offensive line is still suspect. The secondary can do a good job getting sticky coverage against an underwhelming receiving core of the Giants. And I think the Bengals are more explosive on offense. So I feel like, Jamar Chase versus T. Higgins against an atrocious secondary of the Giants, I think is going to be too much there. So I think Joe Burrow can have a good game here. But I don't know if they're going to be able to run the ball really good because the Giants' defensive line is very strong. But I think the Bengals offense is going to show up in this game. I think the defense will show up in this game. So yeah, that's pretty much why I think the Bengals are going to beat the Giants. So basically, that's 4-0 is pretty good. 4-0 is like pretty good because that's pretty easy for them because I don't see them starting the season off very slow. So basically, week 2 they play against the Chiefs. Obviously, this is a game that can go either way, and most people are picking the Chiefs to win because the Chiefs are at home in this game. But I think the Bengals are going to win. I don't care where the game is, but I think the Bengals are going to win this game because I feel like the Bengals have pretty much owned the Chiefs really good, really played the Chiefs really well in the past regular season, especially in the playoffs. I think the Bengals defense matches up well with the Chiefs really good because they have the pass rush to get after Mahomes, make life difficult on them. They have the corners to man up against the Chiefs weapons that they have. And they have a strong offensive line that can really control the Chiefs pass rush. And especially, I feel like without L'Jarius Sneed, I feel like the Chiefs secondary could be a little bit shaky. Now we don't know who the cornerback group is going to be. Now they got Trent McDuffie there. Like who's their number two? Who's their number 2 corner? Like who knows? I feel like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are just going to be a problem for that young Chiefs secondary. So yeah, and I feel like the Bengals can run the ball on them a little bit, but I don't know if they will because the Chiefs' defensive line is very strong. And Spags, have kind of figured out how to defend Joe Burrow. So yeah, and especially Big Lou, he figured out how to defend Patrick Mahomes, so he can do that in this game. So yeah, especially Mahomes is good against the blitz as well. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun game to watch. I think it will be close, but I think the Bengals will find a way to win this game. Especially, I think they're a superior team in this matchup. So yeah, that's why I think the Bengals will win. Then week 5 they play against the Ravens. Obviously, last season they got swept by the Ravens. So I don't think this is going to happen this year. I'm going to say the Bengals win the first game at home because the Bengals are at home in this game, and I think they're kind of a better team overall. And I feel like the Bengals for the past couple of seasons have played the Ravens offense really well. Like they shut down Lamar, they blitz him, they defend him. and they found a way, to at least like stop their running game. I feel like they can do that in this game because I feel like as long as they defend Lamar and all that, and they just control the game to keep Lamar off the field, I think the Bengals have a chance to win this game. But I think it will be close and it will be fun to watch. But I think the Bengals find a way to pull it off. So basically, they're 6-0 right now. They're getting hot right now, going 6-0. Then they got to play against the Browns week 7. I actually got them losing this game in Cleveland because the Browns, typically play the Bengals really well. They pretty much own the Bengals. They kind of got their number. And their defense, matches up well with the Bengals on paper. Like, they have the pass rush to get after Joe Burrow. And, their they can stop the run okay. Now, the Bengals don't have a run game to deploy on, but they can stop their running game. So I don't think the Bengals are going to be able to run the ball really effectively. They have the secondary to man up against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. So, yeah, I think their offense can definitely move the ball on the Bengals as well. I mean, even though Deshaun Watson sucks, I think he can do a good job, like making some plays, like running around and all that. So, yeah. So I think the Browns, win this game to give the Bengals their first loss of the season. Then week 8, they play against the Eagles. This is going to be a fun game to watch. Now, some people could be picking the Eagles to win because the Eagles kind of at least improved their roster a little bit. But I don't really know because I understand the Eagles got good weapons on offense. They got Saquon now. Their offensive line is pretty strong. Their defensive line is pretty strong, especially their secondary is pretty strong now. So they drafted cornerbacks in like back-to-back second and first rounds. So, yeah, maybe the Eagles can definitely give them issues on both sides of the ball, but I don't really know what's going to happen, though, because the Eagles, on paper, their defense, against the pass is not really great. So maybe that gives Cincinnati a chance to at least, like, move the ball on them and throw the ball at them as well. So, yeah, I kind of really feel like Big Lou can do a good job defending Jalen Hurts. So I feel like if they defend if you like defend Jalen Hurts, like you blitz him and such things like that, and force him to throw the ball in the middle of the field, I think that gives the Bengals a chance to win this game. So I'm going to give Cincy the win here because they're at home and have the better quarterback. And I think they're kind of a more complete team. So, yeah, I think the Eagles find a way to win this game, especially, at home. I think it could be a high-scoring game, but I don't really know. But I think it's going to be a high-scoring game for sure. So, yeah, I think the Bengals are going to find a way to win that game. Then week 9 to play against the Raiders. Obviously, they should beat the Raiders here at home because the Raiders are just the Bengals are just a more complete team, have the better quarterback, the better coaching staff. They're at home. Raiders going to be dealing with some learning curves because I don't really know who the quarterback for the Raiders is going to be because it's either going to be Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. If it's Aiden O'Connell, I wouldn't trust a young quarterback on the road, especially against that good of a defense like the Bengals. I kind of remember in that playoff game where the Bengals, had beat the Raiders in Cincy. But I feel the Raiders' defense could be a challenge here because Christian Wilkins and Matt Crosby are absolute terror. They can get the Bengals offense issues, but I don't think so. But the Raiders don't have a great secondary, so I feel like they don't really have the corners to match up well with the Bengals receivers. So I think, Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Mike Gesicki, those guys are going to be a problem for that Raiders secondary. I feel like it's going to be too much for the Raiders secondary to handle, especially I think the Bengals have a offensive line can do good enough against the Raiders D line where they can control them, their pass rush, and put the Raiders defense in a bad position. But I don't think they'll be able to run the ball on them, but I think they'll throw the ball on them really well. And I think I think the defense can do a good job, stopping the Raiders running game. They have corners that can man up against the Raiders receiving core. I think the Bengals, find a way to win this game, but I think it's going to be very closer than we expected. So, yeah. Then week 10, they got to play against the Ravens on a short week on Thursday Night Football. I got them splitting with the Ravens, so I'm going to give them the Bengals a loss there because the game's in Baltimore where it's a tough place to play at. And, the Ravens tend to play the Bengals pretty well on both sides of the ball. And so, yeah, especially the Ravens going to have much to play for because I feel like they're a team that They're probably going to make the playoffs again, but they could definitely miss it too. So, yeah, I think the Ravens find a way to win this game at home on a Thursday night. Week 11, they play against the Chargers. This is a game right here that can definitely go either way. Now, I could definitely see the Chargers win this game at home because Jim Harbaugh is kind of familiar with the Bengals system. But I felt the Chargers can definitely give the Bengals issues. Like their pass rush is really good that can really get at the Burrow. Their secondary is kind of strong that can really cover against the Bengals receivers. But they have a strong offensive line too that can really control their pass rush. But I don't think the Chargers, are probably gonna not be a good. I don't think the Chargers are gonna be a good team. They could be sneaky, but I don't think they're gonna be a good team because they don't have a lot of weapons on offense that really scare you. So that reminds me that I've got lean towards the Bengals to win this game because the Bengals got the better receiving weapons. They kind of have a better defense. They're a more complete team, and they kind of got the better quarterback and better coaching as well. And I just think the Bengals secondary can be sticky against an unwhelmed receiving core of the Chargers, and they can make life difficult on the Chargers by like giving Justin Herbert issue, like defending him and blitz him. And I think, I don't think the Chargers will be able to run the ball really well on them as well. So, yeah. So, I feel like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins is just going to be too much for the Chargers secondary to handle. So, yeah. That made me lean. That's why I'm taking the Bengals to win this game, but it will be a close game, though. But I kind of feel the Chargers have definitely beat them last time. Because I think back 3 years ago, the game was in Cincy and the Chargers really beat them. That's when the Chargers defense really shut down the whole entire Bengals offense. Like, I don't see it happening again. I think the Bengals find a way to pull this one off, even though it's in LA. So they're 9-2 heading towards the bye week. So they get a bye week 12, which they get extra time to prepare and rest. And then they got to play against the Steelers at home. Obviously, this is a game right here that because I feel like the Bengals going to have a week to prepare and 10 days to rest because it's a bye week. Then they play against the Steelers at home. I'm going to say they're going to split with the Steelers. So I'm going to give them a win here because they might want revenge from last year where the Steelers have swept them, which I don't see them doing again. I just kind of feel like the Bengals are the more complete team and the better quarterback. They're at home, better coaching. And, the Steelers got a new quarterback in Russell Wilson, a new offensive line. The defense is still the same and all that. So, yeah. But the game's in Cincy, and that's why I'm picking the Bengals to win the first game. Then week 14, they play against the Dallas Cowboys on a Monday night. This is a really good game that can go either way. Now, some people could be picking the Bengals to win because the Bengals are kind of a better team than the Cowboys. But if the game was in Cincy, I might go with the Bengals. But the game's in Dallas, so I'm leaning towards Dallas to win this game because I think Dallas pretty much own the Bengals as of lately. Like, they got some personnel to beat them. Like, yeah, like I think the Cowboys, have beaten the Bengals multiple times for previous years. Now this is a good matchup for the Bengals because this is a good matchup for the Cowboys because they have the pass rush to get after Joe Burrow, but they're not good against the run, which I don't think Cincinnati are going to be able to run the ball really good on them. Which I understand they have a new defense coordinator, Mike Zimmer. Maybe he can definitely give the Bengals offense issues. And then they have the corners to cover Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and all that. So, yeah. And I feel like the Cowboys, with their explosive offense, I think they can throw the ball. I think Dak can have enough time to throw the ball through the air against the Bengals defense. And I think they can do enough to, control the game and keep Joe Burrow on the sidelines. So, yeah. I think the Cowboys find a way to win this game at home. Then next game, they got to play against the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee. Obviously, I think Cincinnati's going to get their revenge on Tennessee because Tennessee had whooped them last year because that's when the Titans defense did really shut down the whole Bengals offense and all that. But I think the Bengals defense is going to come to play here, especially with a young quarterback against a good defense like the Bengals. Yeah. I think the Bengals, have the pass rush can definitely slow down the Titans running game. And I think their secondary can do a good job, covering the Titans receivers and all that. So yeah, but I think the Bengals can definitely get the Titans deep, put the Titans defense in a bad position where they can't cover all of a sudden like that, where they can't like come up big. Like I feel like that gives the O line a lot of time to block. So yeah, especially the Bengals are a better team, better quarterback, better coaching staff. Titans are going to be doing learning curves. You have a new quarterback, a new head coach. Like we don't know what Will Levis is going to be, so it's going to be a new culture in Tennessee. So that's why I think the Bengals are going to go on Tennessee and win that game. The week 16, they got to play against the Browns on a Thursday night. This is on a short week. I give the Bengals a win here because they should split with the Browns because the Browns, they could be a team that can make the playoffs this year, or they could definitely miss it though. But I think the Bengals are at home, and I just think they're the better team overall. They have the better quarterback as well. So yeah, especially the Browns defense is not good on the road. So I feel like Joe Burrow can have a good game here, and I think they can run the ball on the Browns. They can throw the ball on them. So yeah, I think the Bengals find a way to win that game. Week 17, they got to play the Broncos on a Saturday. They should easily beat the Broncos. I mean, Broncos are just one of the worst teams in the league. I feel like they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league coming this season. Like, who's the quarterback for the Broncos? Is it going to be Bo Nix, the rookie, or Zach Wilson? Like, if it's one of these guys, I wouldn't trust a rookie on the road, especially against a good defense like the Bengals. Yeah, like the Bengals got good corners. They got corners to match up well with Courtland Sutton. Their pass rush can get after who's playing at quarterback. Like they can stop their running game. Like their Broncos offensive line is not good. The defense is a little bit up and down, but I don't think it's that great. Maybe the Bengals can move the ball on them. I think they can throw the ball on them. I think they can run the ball on them as well. Because I think the Broncos run defense, like I don't think they have much of a pass rush to get after Burrow. So yeah, I feel like Burrow can have a lot of time there. So yeah. Especially the Bengals got the better quarterback, better coaching staff. They're at home and they're a better team overall. So yeah, that's pretty much why. And then last game of the season, they play against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I got them split with the Steelers, so I'm gonna give them the win here because I think Cincinnati's probably gonna like rest their starters, to like lock up, the top seed in the AFC. So yeah, that's pretty much why I think the Steelers will win this game, especially is in Pittsburgh. Yeah. So obviously, I got the Bengals going 13-4, 3-3 in the division, 9-3 in the conference, 5-4 away, 8-0 at home. I mean, that's not bad. So this is a pretty easy schedule for the Bengals, though. So when you look at their schedule, like it could be tougher because they have to play the Chiefs, they play the Ravens twice, the Browns twice, the Eagles, the Steelers twice, and the Cowboys. So this totally could be a difficult schedule, but I think it's easier than you think. So I feel like 13-4 is good enough for the Bengals, to win a division and probably get the number 1 seed in the AFC conference and all that. So yeah, I mean, as long as Joe Burrow can stay healthy, I feel like the Bengals could be a top team in the AFC. So yeah, I mean, last year, they were kind of like close to being a bottom team in the AFC because Joe Burrow got injured for the rest of the year. That's when he got hurt. The offensive line is improved. The receiving weapons is still the same despite them losing Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon. But I hope T. Higgins can stay. And the defense is still the same, even though they lost DJ Reader. But they added Sheldon Rankins to replace him. The linebackers group still the same. The secondary is pretty darn the same. It's pretty much the same despite losing Chiwetel Awuzie. And they added Geno Stone and brought back Von Bell, which that's good. So yeah. So I think the Bengals should be a top team in the AFC once again. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think. So this is Emmanuel Jones from Big Fan. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys later next video. Peace.